Aaron adjusted his backpack as he stepped carefully over the thick roots of the rainforest trees. The sunlight barely reached the forest floor, creating patches of golden light among the dense green. The air was warm and heavy, filled with the scent of wet soil and moss. He wiped sweat from his forehead and looked at the small group following him. Mira was scanning the trees with binoculars, her eyes alert for any unusual signs, while Thomas carefully marked the path on a handheld GPS device. The three of them had been trekking through the Amazon for days, mapping areas that no one had explored before. "Aaron, you need to look at this," Mira called softly. She pointed toward a break in the treetops. From where they stood, it looked like metal reflecting the sun. Aaron squinted, trying to see better. At first, he thought it was just a piece of old scrap, perhaps left by earlier explorers. But as they moved closer, the object became clearer. It was a plane. Not just a small plane, but a full-sized aircraft, wedged high among the massive trees, its nose pointing slightly downward. Vines and moss clung to the fuselage, wrapping it like a blanket. The tail fin was bent at an awkward angle, but the body of the plane appeared almost untouched. Aaron felt a chill run down his spine. He had seen crashed planes before in remote areas, but none like this. This one seemed too intact. "Do you see that?" Thomas asked, his voice low. "It doesn't make sense. This plane has to be decades old, but the metal looks fresh in some places." Mira nodded. "And look at the design. I have never seen anything like this model before. It looks modern, almost futuristic for something that old." The three of them stood in silence, staring at the plane. Birds circled high above, but no animals seemed to be nearby. The usual forest sounds, the buzz of insects, the chirp of monkeys, had disappeared. It was as if the jungle itself had paused to watch them. Aaron took a deep breath. "We have to get closer. We need to know if anyone is inside or if this is just a relic. But we must be careful." "We do not know if it is stable," Mira and Tomas agreed. They moved forward slowly, stepping over fallen branches and dodging hanging vines. Aaron led the way, testing each root and stone to avoid slipping. As they approached the base of the trees holding the plane, the scale of the discovery became even more apparent. The aircraft was enormous, its wings spread wide, almost as if it had landed in the treetops intentionally. "This is impossible," Tomas whispered. "No plane could have stayed here for decades and not collapsed under its own weight. Unless it was placed here," Mira said quietly. "Maybe someone left it." Aaron shook his head. "Why would anyone leave a plane like this in the middle of the Amazon? And why would it look like it came from the future?" They circled the plane, examining it from all sides. The exterior was covered in rust in some places, but other parts seemed untouched by time. The windows were clear, giving a faint glimpse of the interior. Aaron crouched to look inside. The seats were aligned, the dashboard was clean, and nothing seemed to have moved in years. He could not explain how it had survived the weather and jungle creatures for so long. "Look at the symbols," Mira said, pointing to markings on the metal near the cockpit. "These are not like any language I have seen. They are not letters or numbers we know. They are shapes, like patterns. Almost like instructions, but I cannot read them." Thomas pulled out a notebook and sketched the symbols. "We should document everything before touching anything. This could be something important, something scientists would want to study." Aaron nodded. "Agreed, but we need to be careful. Something about this place feels strange. I do not know if it is just the forest or something else, but the air feels heavier here." The team spent the rest of the afternoon setting up a small camp near the plane. They marked safe paths for climbing and set up a rope system to reach the fuselage. As the sun moved behind the dense canopy, the forest grew darker and quieter. Strange shadows moved among the trees, but when they looked directly, nothing was there. Mira could not stop thinking about the symbols on the plane. "Aaron, do you think this could be from the future?" she asked. Aaron laughed softly, though it did not reach his eyes. "We do not even understand our own present sometimes. How can we know about the future? But yes, this plane is unlike anything I have ever seen. The materials, the design, even the shape of the wings. It is advanced." Thomas shivered and looked around. "It feels like the forest itself is watching us. Every time I look up, the trees seem different, like they are bending to see us." The explorers decided to wait until morning to approach the plane directly. Climbing in the fading light would be dangerous, and the forest was unpredictable after dark. They ate a simple meal and tried to rest, but sleep was difficult. Every sound seemed amplified. The buzzing of insects that had returned sounded unusually loud, and the rustling of leaves in the wind sounded like whispers. Aaron kept watch for a few hours, his eyes scanning the treetops. Suddenly, a flash of metal caught his attention. Something moved inside the plane. He blinked and it disappeared. He shook his head. Perhaps it was a reflection from the setting sun. But the feeling in his stomach told him that this was not a normal plane and not a normal discovery. Morning came slowly. The sunlight filtered through the trees, casting green shadows over the forest floor. The team packed their camp and prepared their climbing gear. Aaron tied the ropes to sturdy branches and tested each knot carefully. Mira carried a small camera to record everything, and Thomas held the GPS and notebook. "Ready?" Aaron asked. They nodded. The climb was difficult. The roots were slippery, and the vines tangled around their arms and legs. Aaron went first, pulling himself up steadily, while Mira followed with careful steps. Thomas stayed below, documenting their progress and offering support when needed. When Aaron reached the fuselage, he paused. The plane was larger than he had imagined from the ground. The metal walls seemed to hum faintly. He reached out and touched the surface. A small vibration ran through his hand. He looked at Mira. "Do you feel that?" he whispered. Mira placed her hand beside his. The vibration was real, faint but unmistakable. Thomas, watching from below, saw a faint glow coming from inside the cockpit. The explorers exchanged worried glances. Aaron carefully pried open the door. The hinges were stiff but gave way with effort. The inside was dim, the seats neatly arranged. Dust and leaves had not yet entered, as if the jungle had avoided disturbing it. "This is incredible," Mira said softly. She stepped inside, moving cautiously. The cockpit was small but filled with controls, panels, and screens. Strange symbols lit the displays. Aaron crouched near the seats, inspecting the floor. No one has been here in years, maybe decades. But it feels alive somehow. Thomas finally joined them, climbing carefully. "Alive? What do you mean?" "The plane," Aaron said. "It is not just metal. Something inside it is active. Look at the lights. They are faint, but they are on." Mira examined the dashboard. She reached out to touch one of the panels. As her fingers brushed the surface, the lights brightened and soft images appeared on the screens. Maps, symbols, and figures flickered in front of them. She jumped back, startled. "What is this?" she whispered. "I do not know," Aaron said, his voice tense. "But we need to be careful. This is not a normal plane. Something about it is unusual." They spent the rest of the day carefully exploring the interior without touching anything else. The strange symbols, the humming metal, and the glowing screens made them realize that this plane was extraordinary. It was more than a relic. It was a mystery waiting to be solved. As evening approached, the explorers set up camp inside the plane, taking turns to stay awake. Every shadow seemed alive, every sound amplified. The forest around them felt different, almost protective of the plane. Aaron could not sleep. He kept thinking about the maps and symbols, wondering who had built this aircraft and why it was here. By the time the moon rose over the rainforest, the team understood one thing clearly. This plane was not just a discovery. It was the beginning of something much larger than they could imagine. Something that would change the way they thought about time, space, and humanity itself. They did not yet know what lay ahead, but they knew one thing. The plane was waiting for them to uncover its secrets, and the forest was ready to reveal them. Morning arrived with a soft mist hanging over the forest. The sunlight filtered through the tall trees, painting the ground in patterns of green and gold. Aaron was already awake, checking the ropes he had secured the previous day. Mira was stretching and scanning the treetops, while Thomas was making notes of their position and the strange patterns on the plane's exterior. "Are you ready to climb?" Aaron asked, adjusting his gloves. Mira nodded. "I am ready. I want to see what is inside. We need to know if this plane is a relic or something more." Thomas hesitated. "I will stay below and document everything. I can guide you with the ropes and make sure you are safe." "This plane is too high for all of us to climb at once," Aaron agreed. "Good, we move carefully. One wrong step and it could be dangerous." He took the lead, climbing the thick vines that had grown around the fuselage. The plane swayed slightly with his weight, but the metal seemed strong. Mira followed behind him, gripping the vines tightly. Every step was difficult as they balanced on branches and roots, their feet finding purchase on uneven surfaces. Below, Thomas watched and made sketches of the plane's structure. He noted the strange patterns on the wings and the faint glow coming from the cockpit. Something about the light was unusual. It pulsed gently like a heartbeat, and it made his skin tingle. When Aran reached the fuselage, he carefully tested the door. It was stiff but began to open with effort. Inside, the air was cool and still. Dust had settled, but the interior was intact. The seats were aligned, the control panels clean, and the floor showed no signs of decay. It was as if the jungle had grown around the plane without disturbing it. Mira stepped inside behind him. "It feels strange in here," she said, "like it is waiting for something." Aaron nodded. "I feel it too. We need to move carefully and document everything." The cockpit was filled with strange panels and displays. Symbols glowed faintly on the screens, and small lights blinked in a rhythm that seemed deliberate. Aaron reached out to touch one of the panels. The light responded immediately, brightening in a soft blue glow. Mira gasped and stepped back. "Did you see that?" she asked. "It reacted to your touch." Aaron nodded slowly. "Yes, it is as if the plane is alive in some way. Not alive like a person, but it responds to us." Thomas called from below. "Are you okay up there? Does it feel safe?" Aaron looked down. "So far, yes. But be ready. This plane is not normal. I feel that it is more than just metal." Mira walked down the narrow aisle, her fingers brushing against the seats. Each touch caused the symbols on the screens to flicker. The lights pulsed like the rhythm of a heartbeat, and a soft hum filled the cabin. The sound was low, almost soothing, but it carried a sense of urgency. "This hum," she said quietly. "It is like the plane is trying to tell us something." Aaron examined the cockpit. The instruments were unlike any he had seen. Dials, levers, and displays were arranged in patterns that suggested advanced technology. Some panels had symbols similar to those on the exterior, while others displayed shapes that seemed to shift and move. "Do you think this plane is from our time?" Aaron asked. Mira shook her head. "No, it is too advanced. I think it may be from the future or from somewhere we cannot understand yet." Thomas climbed carefully to join them. "I do not know what it is, but the light on the cockpit is brighter now. And I hear the hum too. It is stronger." Aaron pointed to a small hatch under one of the seats. "Look at this. There is a compartment here. It is locked, but it feels important. We should try to open it carefully." Mira nodded. "Yes, it may contain the answers we are looking for." They worked together, prying the hatch open slowly. Inside was a small capsule, round and metallic. It glowed faintly with the same blue light as the panels. The capsule had markings that matched the symbols on the plane. "What is this?" Thomas asked, his voice trembling slightly. "It looks like some kind of container, but why is it glowing?" Aaron studied it carefully. "I do not know, but it is human-made. These markings are deliberate. Someone placed this here for a reason." Mira reached out to touch the capsule. As soon as her fingers made contact, the hum in the plane grew louder. The lights on the panels pulsed rapidly, and a soft voice whispered words in a language they did not understand. Mira jumped back, startled. "Did you hear that?" she asked. Aaron nodded. "Yes, it is communicating somehow. Not with words we know, but with sounds and light. I think it is trying to show us something." Thomas looked around nervously. "This is incredible, but it feels dangerous. The plane is alive in a way we cannot control." Aaron agreed. "We must be careful. Touch nothing else until we understand what this is. But we cannot leave without knowing what this plane is for." The team spent hours examining the cockpit. They documented every symbol, every panel, and the strange responses to their touch. The capsule remained in its compartment, glowing softly. The hum of the plane was constant now, and it seemed to fill the entire fuselage. Mira noticed something unusual on one of the screens. It displayed maps of the Earth, but some locations were marked with symbols they did not recognize. "Look at this," she said, pointing. "These places do not exist in our maps. They are somewhere else, or maybe in the future." Aaron leaned closer. "This confirms it. This plane is not from our time. It carries information or technology from a future we cannot yet understand." Thomas was still examining the capsule. "Do you think it is dangerous?" he asked. Aaron hesitated. "It may be, but it is also valuable. It is proof that humans, or someone like us, have achieved something remarkable. We must study it carefully." As they continued their work, the forest outside began to change. Birds and animals were unusually quiet. The air felt heavy, and the shadows of the trees seemed to stretch toward the plane. It was as if the forest itself was aware of what they were doing. Suddenly, the cockpit lights brightened dramatically. The screens displayed images of people, soldiers or pilots, but their faces were unclear, glowing like holograms. Maps and symbols moved across the panels, forming patterns that seemed almost alive. The voice they had heard before whispered again, this time in clearer English. "Return," it said. The team froze. Aaron's heart raced. "It spoke our language," he whispered. "This is not a normal plane. It is trying to tell us something." Mira looked at the images on the screens. "Do you see that? The people on the panels, they are wearing uniforms, but their technology is beyond anything we know. And these maps, they show locations we cannot identify." Tomas swallowed hard. "This is not just a relic. It is a message, a warning, or maybe a guide. We need to record everything. We cannot make a mistake." Aaron nodded. "Agreed. We stay calm, we document everything, and we try to understand. Touch nothing else until we know what it wants from us." Hours passed as they carefully explored the cockpit and cabin. The hum continued, steady and rhythmic. The capsule glowed faintly, responding to their presence but not opening further. The plane seemed patient, as if it was waiting for them to understand. By the late afternoon, they decided to climb out and rest. Aaron helped Mira down first, followed by Thomas. Once on the ground, they set up camp nearby. The jungle seemed alive around them, yet calm. Birds returned, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves. But the memory of the glowing cockpit and the voice lingered in their minds. As night fell, Aaron kept watch. The light from the plane glowed faintly through the trees. The hum continued, steady and low. He could not stop thinking about the capsule and the message they had heard. Someone had built this plane, placed it in the forest, and now it was reaching out to them. Mira and Thomas tried to sleep, but it was difficult. Every shadow, every sound made them alert. The forest seemed to watch them, waiting to see what they would do next. Before dawn, Aaron spoke quietly to the others. "Tomorrow we go back inside. We need to understand what this plane is, why it is here, and what it wants from us. This is bigger than any discovery we have ever made." Mira nodded, determination in her eyes. "I am ready. This plane is not just a mystery. It is proof that humans can achieve incredible things. We have to find out the truth." Thomas swallowed hard but agreed. "We will be careful. But yes, we must know." The three of them settled for a few hours of rest, knowing that tomorrow their journey into the unknown would begin. The plane awaited them, its lights glowing faintly through the trees, its hum filling the forest with a strange, steady rhythm. They did not yet know what secrets it held, but they understood one thing clearly. This was not an ordinary plane, and the jungle was not an ordinary place. Their discovery was only the beginning. The morning sun broke through the canopy, casting long beams of light across the rainforest floor. The air was cool and fresh, but it carried a strange tension. Aaron, Mira, and Thomas prepared for the climb back to the plane. They had spent the night planning carefully, discussing every possible scenario. The events of the previous day still lingered in their minds. The glowing panels, the soft hum, and the mysterious capsule that seemed alive. "Are you ready?" Aaron asked, checking the ropes one more time. Mira nodded. "We have to know what this plane is. We cannot turn back now." Tomas swallowed and adjusted his backpack. "I am ready. Let us be careful. This is beyond anything we have ever seen." They moved carefully through the dense forest, stepping over roots and ducking under vines. The sounds of the jungle surrounded them, but they felt different this morning. Birds chirped in a quiet rhythm, and the rustling of leaves seemed softer, as if the forest itself was observing them. As they approached the plane, Aaron paused. The fuselage glowed faintly in the early light. The hum they had heard yesterday was stronger now, almost like it was calling to them. Mira stepped closer, her hand brushing against the vines that clung to the metal. The plants seemed to respond, moving slightly as if alive. "Do you feel that?" she whispered. Aaron nodded. "Yes, the plane is not just a machine. It has awareness in a way we cannot understand." Thomas carefully followed them, taking notes and photographs. "I cannot explain it, but I feel like we are being guided. The plane wants us to be here." They began the climb, Aaron leading the way. Every movement was cautious, each step tested before committing weight. Mira followed, moving gracefully despite the challenging climb. Thomas assisted from below, holding the ropes and giving instructions. When they reached the fuselage, Aaron opened the door. The interior was exactly as they had left it. The seats were aligned, the panels glowing softly. The hum was steady and soothing, yet it carried a sense of urgency. Mira stepped inside, her eyes scanning the cabin. "This is incredible," she said. "It feels like the plane is waiting for something. Or someone." Aaron approached the cockpit. The glowing symbols on the panels pulsed gently, and the soft hum seemed to grow louder as he reached out to touch a control. The lights on the screen brightened, forming shapes that moved like flowing water. Suddenly a figure appeared on the panels. It was human in shape but made entirely of light. Its eyes glowed and it wore what looked like a uniform, although unfamiliar. Mira gasped. "Aaron, do you see that?" Aaron nodded slowly, his hand frozen in place. "Yes, it is alive in some way. It is trying to communicate." Thomas climbed into the plane and stopped at the back. "Is it real? Or is it some kind of projection?" The figure moved slightly, raising an arm in a gesture that seemed deliberate. Its eyes met theirs, glowing with an intelligence that was unsettling yet fascinating. The hum grew louder, vibrating through the metal floor. The cockpit lights flickered and a soft voice spoke in clear English. "Return," Aaron stepped closer. "Return where? What does it mean?" The figure did not respond further. Instead, the screens around them displayed images of Earth. Cities, forests, oceans, and deserts appeared in rapid succession. Then strange symbols marked specific locations. Some were familiar, but others were completely unknown, representing places that did not exist on their maps. Mira pointed at the images. "These locations, some of them are in the future. I think this plane has traveled through time. Or it carries information from the future." Thomas swallowed hard. "This is beyond anything we imagined. It is a message, a warning, or maybe a guide. We must understand it carefully." Aaron nodded. He turned his attention to the capsule they had found under one of the seats. Its glow had grown brighter. He reached out and touched it. The moment his fingers made contact, the hum intensified, and the figure of light stepped down from the cockpit panels. It moved toward them, hovering slightly above the floor. Mira stepped back, startled. "Aaron, be careful. It is moving toward us." The figure stopped a few feet away. Its eyes scanned each of them, and the hum seemed to form a rhythm like a heartbeat. Then a series of shapes appeared on the panels, translating into words in English. "Protect the seed. Return it to the origin. Humanity depends on it." Aaron and Mira exchanged glances. "The seed?" Mira asked. "Is that the capsule?" The figure nodded, its glowing hand pointing toward the capsule. Thomas stepped closer, his curiosity overcoming his fear. "What kind of seed? And why does it matter so much?" The figure did not answer with words but displayed images on the panels. A vision appeared showing Earth, but it was different. Cities in the sky, enormous machines, and humans working together with advanced technology. Then a dark shadow appeared, spreading across the planet, destroying everything in its path. Mira shivered. "It is a warning. Something will happen if this seed is not returned." Aaron's mind raced. "We have to understand this fully. This is not just a discovery. It is a responsibility." The figure moved closer to the capsule. It hovered above it for a moment, and the hum reached its peak. Then it projected an image of a map. The locations on the map were distant and unreachable, at least with their current technology. Yet the figure's gestures indicated urgency. Thomas looked at the map and frowned. "How are we supposed to return it?" "This is beyond our capabilities." Aaron clenched his fists. "We do not need to understand everything now. We need to protect it and study it. That is the first step." Mira examined the cabin more closely. The seats had compartments containing small devices, all glowing faintly. She opened one and found another capsule, smaller than the first with similar markings. "There is more than one," she said quietly. "We need to catalog everything." The figure of light moved toward the cockpit again, then paused. Its eyes seemed to study them, judging their intentions. Aaron realized that it was not threatening them. It was testing them, ensuring they were trustworthy. Hours passed as they carefully explored the plane. Every panel, compartment, and symbol was documented. The capsules responded to their presence, glowing brighter when touched, but opening only partially, as if revealing information slowly. The figure of light remained near the cockpit, observing. By mid-afternoon, the explorers decided to rest inside the plane. They set up a small area near the back, keeping the capsules and panels under careful watch. The hum continued, steady and calm now, as if satisfied with their caution. Mira spoke quietly to the others. "This plane is a message and a guide. It is not dangerous as long as we respect it. We are the first humans to interact with it in decades, maybe centuries." Aaron nodded. "And that is why it appeared now. It is waiting for us, for someone who can understand it and protect what it carries." Thomas added, "We are responsible. We must be careful. One wrong step could destroy everything it is trying to save. The sun began to set, casting long shadows across the cabin. The forest outside grew quiet again. The birds and animals disappeared, leaving only the sound of the wind through the trees. The hum of the plane was the only constant, a reminder of the presence of the figure of light in the capsules. As night fell, Aaron kept watch near the cockpit. The glowing figure remained near the panels, its light soft but constant. He could not sleep, but he did not want to leave his post. He studied the panels and the capsules, trying to understand their patterns. Mira and Tomas rested near the back, but their eyes were open more than closed. Every flicker of light, every pulse of the hum kept them alert. They understood now that this was more than a plane. It was a vessel of knowledge and responsibility, a bridge between humanity and a future they had yet to see. Before dawn, Aaron spoke softly to Mira and Tomas. Tomorrow we go further. We need to understand how to use this information and protect the seed. This is the start of something greater than us. We are part of it now. Mira nodded, determination shining in her eyes. We will do it. We have been chosen to protect this. We cannot fail. Thomas swallowed hard but agreed. We will be careful. We will learn everything we can. This plane has waited long enough for humans to understand it. Now it is our turn. The three of them settled for a few hours of rest, though sleep was difficult. The plane glowed faintly in the darkness, its hum steady and comforting. The figure of light remained vigilant near the cockpit, a silent guardian and guide. The explorers knew one thing clearly. They had awakened something extraordinary, something that carried the future of humanity within it, and their journey into the unknown was only beginning. The next morning, the forest was alive with sound. Birds called to one another and the leaves rustled gently in the breeze. Yet the explorers felt a tension that was hard to shake. Aaron, Mira, and Tomas approached the plane, knowing that today they would uncover more than just its physical secrets. Are we ready? Aaron asked, checking the ropes. Mira nodded, her eyes bright with determination. We have to understand this. There is something inside the plane that wants us to see it. Thomas adjusted his backpack, still feeling the weight of responsibility. We need to be careful. The forest feels different today, like it knows we are here. They began their climb, carefully maneuvering around vines and branches. Aaron led the way, testing each step, while Mira followed, her eyes scanning the interior of the plane for changes. Thomas stayed below, documenting everything and making notes of the glowing symbols. When they reached the fuselage, Aaron opened the door. The cockpit lights pulsed softly, and the hum that had greeted them for days grew stronger. The figure of light hovered near the panels, its form slightly more defined than before. Its eyes glowed steadily, and it seemed to acknowledge their presence. Mira stepped inside and moved toward the capsule. It had grown brighter overnight, and the markings seemed to shift slightly as if alive. Aaron crouched near the cockpit, studying the panels. Symbols shifted and formed new patterns, some of which resembled maps. Look at this, Mira said. The capsule is sending a signal. I can feel it. Our equipment is picking it up, but it is coming from somewhere far away. Thomas leaned over her shoulder. Somewhere far away? How far? Is it outside the forest or beyond Earth? Aaron's eyes widened. If this signal is strong enough to reach beyond the forest, it could be coming from orbit, or even farther. This capsule is not ordinary. It is a transmitter, and it is sending a message. Mira carefully touched the capsule. The hum intensified, vibrating through the plane. Symbols appeared on the panels in rapid succession. A sequence formed that resembled a star map, showing points far beyond Earth's atmosphere. This is incredible, Thomas whispered. It is communicating with something in space, but why? Who is it sending this to? The figure of light moved closer to the capsule, hovering slightly above it. Its eyes glowed brighter, and the panels around the cockpit displayed images of humans in advanced suits, working with technology far beyond anything the explorers had seen. Maps of Earth appeared, along with strange devices and locations marked with symbols. Aaron studied the maps carefully. These are locations we cannot reach with our current technology, but someone in the future can. This plane is a bridge between now and the time when humanity has achieved this. Mira pointed to a specific symbol on the panel. Look at this one. It matches the markings on the capsule. It is the same as the seed. Whatever it carries, it is important enough to send signals across time and space. Thomas took out his notebook and began sketching the symbols. We need to document everything. The capsule, the signals, the maps, everything. If this is a message from the future, it could be a guide for humanity. As they worked, the forest around the plane grew quiet. Even the wind seemed to stop. The hum from the plane filled the air, vibrating through the trees. Aaron felt a strange connection, as if the forest itself was part of the signal. Suddenly the panels flickered and a new set of images appeared. They showed the capsule being moved, carried carefully by hands that glowed with light. Then, a vision appeared of Earth, but it was different. Cities in the sky, enormous machines, and humans working together in harmony with technology. Mira gasped. It is showing us the future. This is what could happen if the seed reaches its destination. Humanity could achieve incredible things. Aaron nodded. But there is a warning too. Look at this. He pointed to a dark shadow spreading across the planet in the images. Cities were destroyed, forests burned, and oceans churned. Something will happen if the seed is not returned. Thomas swallowed hard. We have to protect it. We cannot let this fail. The figure of light hovered closer to them, its eyes scanning each explorer. Aaron realized that it was testing them, ensuring they were capable of understanding and protecting the seed. The hum pulsed with urgency, matching the rhythm of their own hearts. Mira carefully opened one of the smaller compartments in the plane. Inside was another capsule, similar to the first. It glowed faintly, and symbols on its surface shifted in response to her touch. There is more than one, she said. We have to catalog everything and understand how it works together. Aaron approached the cockpit panels again. The symbols formed sequences that resembled instructions. He traced them carefully with his fingers. It is showing us a path, a route. The capsule must be taken somewhere specific. The future depends on it. Tomas looked at the glowing maps. This is overwhelming. How can we travel to these places? They are unreachable with our technology. Aaron clenched his fists. We do not need to reach them now. Our task is to protect the seed and learn as much as we can. This is only the first step. Suddenly, a sound came from outside the plane. Leaves rustled violently, and a branch snapped. Thomas tensed. Something is out there. Mira peered through the window. It looks like animals, but they are moving differently. The forest is reacting to the signal from the capsule. Aaron nodded. We must be cautious. The forest itself may be trying to protect the seed or warn us of danger. The hum from the plane grew stronger, resonating with the trees around them. The symbols on the panel shifted again, showing arrows and pathways. The capsule responded, glowing brighter with every change. This is amazing, Mira whispered. It is not just a machine. It is alive in some way. It is guiding us, teaching us, and protecting the seed at the same time. Aaron studied the figure of light. It is a guardian. It ensures that only those who understand the importance of the seed can interact with it. Thomas nodded slowly. We are part of this now. We cannot fail. We must understand everything and protect the seed. The sun began to set, casting long shadows across the plain. The hum continued, steady and rhythmic, filling the forest with a sense of calm and purpose. The explorers knew they were standing at the beginning of something extraordinary, something that would change humanity forever. As night fell, Aaron, Mira, and Thomas prepared to rest inside the plane. They arranged the capsules carefully, keeping them close and monitored. The figure of light remained near the cockpit, its glow soft but constant. Mira spoke quietly to the others. We have to learn everything we can before moving forward. The seed is more important than we can imagine. Aaron nodded. Tomorrow we start decoding the capsules. We have to understand their signals and the maps. This is our responsibility now. Tomas adjusted his notebook and whispered, "The forest feels different at night. It is quiet, but it is aware. We are not alone here." They settled in for a few hours of rest, though sleep was difficult. Every flicker of light, every pulse of the hum kept them alert. They knew the plane was watching, guiding, and protecting. The capsules glowed faintly, a reminder of the responsibility they carried. Before dawn, Aaron spoke softly. "We are the first humans to interact with this. We must respect it, learn from it, and protect it. The future is in our hands, and we are ready to begin the journey." Mira and Tomas nodded, determination clear in their eyes. "We will not fail," Mira said. The hum of the plane continued, steady and calm. The figure of light remained vigilant, a silent guardian of the seed and its message. The forest around them was still, as if holding its breath. The explorers understood one thing clearly. They had activated a signal that reached beyond the forest, possibly beyond Earth. The seed, the plane, and the figure of light were part of a larger plan. Humanity's future depended on their understanding, and their journey into the unknown was just beginning. The night passed quietly, the plane glowing softly in the darkness. The forest seemed to protect them, and the hum of the machine filled the air with a sense of purpose. The explorers were ready to face whatever came next, knowing that the signal from the capsules had opened a path to the future, and it was their task to follow it carefully. The morning sun broke through the Amazon canopy, casting a soft golden light across the dense forest. Aaron, Mira, and Thomas were already awake, their eyes fixed on the glowing plane nestled among the treetops. The hum of the aircraft had grown stronger overnight, vibrating through the ground, the trees, and even their bones. The forest seemed alive with anticipation, almost as if it was aware that something extraordinary was about to happen. "Today we find out the full truth," Aaron said, checking the ropes that led to the plane. "We cannot hesitate. The signal from the capsules is growing stronger, and whatever is coming, it is very close." Mira nodded, her expression firm. "We are ready. We know our responsibility. The seed must be protected and returned to its destination. The future depends on it." Thomas adjusted his backpack and took a deep breath. "Let us climb carefully. We do not know what awaits us inside, but we cannot turn back now." They began the climb, moving with precision and caution. Every vine and branch was tested before they stepped, every movement deliberate. The air smelled of wet earth and leaves, but there was something different this morning. The usual forest sounds were muted, replaced by a quiet energy that seemed to come from the plane itself. When they reached the fuselage, Aaron opened the door. The interior was glowing softly, the panels alive with symbols and images. The figure of light hovered near the cockpit, its form clearer than ever. Its eyes glowed steadily, and it seemed to be waiting for them to act. Mira stepped inside first, moving toward the glowing capsule. Its light pulsed in rhythm with the hum of the plane, and she could feel the energy flowing through the air. Aaron followed, his eyes scanning the panels. The symbols had shifted overnight, forming patterns that suggested instructions or a path. "This is it," Aaron said quietly. "The plane is showing us the final steps. We have to follow them carefully." Thomas stepped up beside Mira, looking at the glowing capsule. "It is more than just a container. It is alive in a way. It responds to us, but it also communicates with something far away. The signal is reaching beyond Earth." Suddenly a low roar echoed through the forest. The trees shook and the leaves rustled violently. The explorers froze, realizing that the signal had attracted attention. From the treetops, massive metallic shapes descended, their surfaces reflecting the sunlight. They were ships, advanced and enormous, bearing the same markings as the plane. Mira gasped. "They came for the seed. They know it is here." Aaron clenched his fists. "We cannot let them take it. We have to protect it." The figure of light moved closer to the cockpit, projecting images onto the panels. The explorers saw humans in advanced suits, working with enormous machines and glowing devices. It became clear that the capsules were a key to the survival and advancement of humanity. The seed carried knowledge and technology that could prevent the destruction they had glimpsed in the visions. Thomas took a deep breath. "We have to act fast. The future depends on us." The metallic ships hovered above the treetops, sending a low mechanical hum that blended with the plane's energy. Aaron realized that these were not enemies but forces responding to the signal, checking if the seed was in capable hands. The plane, the capsules, and the forest had led them here to prove themselves. Aaron and Mira carefully lifted the glowing capsule. The light intensified and the hum became a steady vibration. Thomas secured the second capsule, and together they followed the instructions displayed on the panels. The path was clear, guiding them through the plane and toward the exit. As they climbed down the vines with the capsules, the metallic ships remained above, observing. Aaron noticed that the forest seemed to protect them, branches moving slightly to create safe paths, roots shifting to steady their descent. The jungle itself was participating in their mission. Once on the forest floor, the capsules pulsed in rhythm, pointing toward a narrow clearing. Aaron led the way, followed by Mira and Thomas. The hum of the plane resonated through the ground, guiding them like a beacon. As they reached the clearing, the metallic ships descended further, revealing intricate machinery that hovered silently above the treetops. The figure of light appeared beside them, hovering in the air. It gestured toward the machine, showing a path to a platform that had risen from the jungle floor. Aaron understood immediately. The capsules had to be placed on the platform. This was the moment they had prepared for, the culmination of their journey. Mira carefully set the first capsule on the platform. The light pulsed and symbols on the panels formed a connection between the two capsules. Thomas placed the second capsule next to it. The glow intensified, and a beam of light shot into the sky, connecting with the ships above. The metallic vessels responded, their lights flickering as the signal was acknowledged. The forest trembled slightly, and the plane's hum reached its peak, filling the air with a resonant energy. Aaron, Mira, and Thomas felt the power of the capsules, the responsibility they carried, and the importance of their actions. Suddenly, the panels displayed images of the future again. The cities in the sky, the advanced machines, and humans working together were shown in detail. The dark shadow that had threatened the planet was pushed back, replaced by light and progress. The capsules had sent their message successfully. Mira looked at Aaron. "We did it. We protected the seed, and the future can now be saved." Aaron nodded, a sense of relief washing over him. The plane, the forest, and the figure of light, they all guided us here. We were part of this and we succeeded. Thomas smiled, feeling the weight of their responsibility lift. Humanity has a chance now. We played our part. The metallic ships slowly ascended, their lights fading as they returned to the sky. The figure of light hovered above the platform for a final moment, then moved back toward the plane. Its glow dimmed slightly, but it remained present, a guardian and guide for the explorers. Aaron, Mira, and Thomas stood in the clearing, looking at the capsules and the plane. The forest around them seemed calmer now, the energy of the mission settled. They had witnessed something extraordinary, something that connected humanity to its future in a way they could hardly comprehend. Mira spoke softly. The plane, the capsules, the signal. It was all designed to test us, to see if we could handle the responsibility. And we did. Aaron placed a hand on her shoulder. Yes, we acted together, carefully and wisely. That is what it takes to protect the future. Humanity's strength is not just in technology, but in our courage and intelligence. Thomas looked at the glowing platform one last time. We were chosen for a reason. The capsules were waiting for people who could understand their importance. And we proved ourselves. The forest returned to its normal sounds. Birds sang, leaves rustled, and the sunlight warmed the explorers' faces. The plane remained wedged among the treetops, its hum quieter now, as if satisfied. The capsules glowed faintly, safe and secure. Aaron took a deep breath, feeling the weight of what they had accomplished. This is only the beginning. We have learned something incredible, something that will change the way humanity sees itself. The future is in our hands, and we have a chance to protect it. Mira nodded. We have to study the capsules, understand the technology, and ensure it reaches the right people. We cannot let it fall into the wrong hands, Thomas smiled. And we will. Humanity is capable of greatness, and this is proof. We saw it today, and we are part of it. The explorers spent the rest of the day documenting the site, photographing the capsules, and making notes of the symbols and signals. The forest seemed peaceful, as if it recognized their success. They prepared to leave, carefully climbing down and marking the path for future explorers. Before departing, Aaron looked back at the plane. "Thank you," he whispered. "You guided us, protected us, and showed us the path. "We will honor your purpose." Mira and Thomas nodded. The plane remained silent, its glow fading slightly as the sun set. The capsules had completed their purpose for now, sending their message to the future. The forest returned to its normal rhythm, and the explorers felt a sense of calm and accomplishment. As they walked back toward their base camp, Aaron reflected on the journey. They had discovered something beyond their understanding, something that connected humanity to a future of hope and progress. The forest, the plane, the capsules, and the figure of light had tested them, but they had succeeded. Mira spoke softly, her voice full of wonder. "This proves that humans are capable of extraordinary things. We faced the unknown, understood its importance, and protected it. That is what makes us special." Aaron smiled. "Yes, humanity's strength lies in our curiosity, intelligence, and courage. Today we proved that, and this is only the beginning." Thomas nodded, looking at the fading glow of the plane. "We will carry this knowledge forward, and humanity will remember. We have seen the future, and we have a chance to shape it." The trio continued their journey through the rainforest, their hearts light, but their minds full of the incredible events they had witnessed. The plane remained in the treetops, a silent guardian, and the capsules glowed faintly, waiting for the next step in humanity's journey. The forest seemed to celebrate their success, the birds singing, leaves rustling, and sunlight shining warmly. The explorers knew that they had been part of something extraordinary, something that connected the past, present, and future in ways they could hardly comprehend.